This is a speech that I've had in my mind a long time on a day when I had sort of a channeling session. But, I don't like to admit that negative things happen, but they do, of course. But I try to focus on positive, therefore more positive appears in my life. But I'm realistic too, and I know negative things do happen. So then when we come to the physical reality, and we take the concept physical reality and just call it everyday life, what we call governments and our politics and our countries and all our different, what everything is. We call it a universe, we call it a this, we call it a that. In America, we have this certain kind of materialistic life, and other countries are starting to get a little bit materialistic, and da-da-da-da-da, and so on and so on. And at one point, we lived off the land. But for some reason, that wasn't enough, okay? I don't like to be a person who supports the idea of a conspiracy, because that word itself makes it sound dirty, which in the mind of most people is dirty. But in the mind of the person who thought that he was leading his family to survive, at one point, the people that thought that if we provide ideas to people, there is a conspiracy, but it's deeper than you think it is, and this is the root of the conspiracy, and I'll tell you what it is. There are groups of people who understand that thoughts control things, so what they do is they flood your mind with masses and masses and masses and masses of stuff, so that you're thinking about drugs, sex, violence, drama. Like, drama becomes entertainment. First, it's a comedy sitcom. They sort of moved it in slowly with black and white, and they only did that because they had to develop stuff too. And there are people who could, astral project, lucid dream, out of body experience, and go into the futures and go see stuff and take advantage of people. And there are tons of people who've done that, and that's a conspiracy. That's the conspiracy, is people that know that the thought process is really the big thing. So let's say this modern day generation, the kids, why are so many kids this day playing video games of blowing off heads and games like that? Well, what did their parents do? Their parents were in a generation where all of a sudden guns on TV started. Like, when I was a kid, it was rated R to even watch something that said damn or shit. They never had any swear words on TV, not even damn or shit, barely, ever. But now on TV, there's swear words, there's guns, there's fake blood and shooting, So everywhere you look, there's guns and shooting, so it's no big deal. So now, what do we expect our kids to do? So the people that are developing these games and making these shows and the stuff that's for kids, the games are rated for whatever, but it doesn't matter. The people that are making these games are adults. They're adults making violent games. And a lot of them are geared for kids, which makes no sense at all. I mean, games like Zelda, you have a sword. You're fighting a crazy goblin. And I'm not saying that's okay either. I mean, who has a goblin, whatever. But it's a friggin' video game. And it's not realistic, as in you're taking on a person or killing a living thing. You can for food, but that's a video game also. Think about that. I mean, yes, I would not really recommend playing or going out and shooting an animal, but as the later games developed, I don't want to defend that part of my realisticness. I mean, I do play Zelda and I enjoy it, and yes, I will shoot a deer on Zelda, but I won't do it in real life. So anyway, that's the conspiracy, is that they want us to think that they're trying to prevent guns and war and poverty and da-da-da-da. But all they do is they have these meetings, and in the crowd meeting with some of the good, you'd say good or not crooked politicians and the people that are in the government, when they have those whole crowd get-togethers, not the secret societies, the crowd get-togethers, they discuss these matters, and they, answer questions about stuff, and they sort of direct people to other things and sort of blame it on just the society, but they sort of feed the society. But here's the thing, society is also feeding its own self, but its own mind, you know what I mean? The mind of society is a little bit overrun with violence and horror and stuff like that. And I too, I liked horror movies at one time, and I still can't say I don't, but now it's because I understand stuff, you know, like I've been there. I can't tell you enough of how much weird stuff I can tell you that I've experienced, but because you won't understand what I mean, it doesn't make sense. So if I tell you that I've been ripped to pieces and I've been animals and I've been to space, and if I say all this stuff, it doesn't make any sense. So it makes me sound like a Looney Tune. So I leave that kind of stuff out most of the time. So the thing is that we have so much negative media and publicity towards drama and gossip and putting people down and making fun of each other. And, you know, like I said in a talk recently, was people that say stuff like, I'm not prejudiced at all, and, you know, there'll be, you know, a black girl dating a white guy, or, you know, blacks dating whites, and Puerto Ricans dating Hispanics, and, you know, different people dating different races, but then they'll be like, everything's made in China, you know, here in America. But why? What is this? How is that not a prejudice? How is, to me, in my opinion, you know, to ask anybody, and what would their answer be? Because that's how it's supposed to be. Because that's just how it goes, would be their answer. Is how is it not a prejudice to say that you love one person and you are not allowed to love another person the same way, or more, or even get to know them? Because if you do, that would be about you, and the other person would be jealous and mad. That other person, that's a prejudice on that other person's fault. I mean, if you are okay with the other person doing the same thing, then that's fine. And it has nothing to do with saying go run around and do something with everybody. But don't hold yourself back from meeting every single person and everything, enjoying and experiencing everything there is in life. You know, you're going to use discretion and you're going to be smart about it. But tying yourself down was never what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to find out that we're one. And when you do, you can't stop talking about it because it feels so good. And I feel like a nut job because it's all I talk about all the time, but it's all I feel. I feel oneness. I feel the lost people around me, but I don't let it get into me and take me apart. I've learned how to do that. How can I stay happy when people are depressed about the money they don't have? I don't have much money right now, but I know it's coming, and it doesn't even matter. I don't need it for the smiles. A dollar bill will never put a smile on my face. I will, by moving my mouth muscles and making a smile. Right? So that's what you do. When you feel down, you frickin' smile about it. Anyway, I'm not saying everyone needs to just cold turkey stop watching everything on media, but get outside and start listening to your heart. Start loving people, and not, the more you kill stuff and watch stuff being killed, the more you're okay with it. You might feel bad that you know it's happening to real people, but when you watch enough of it on TV that looks real, and you do enough of it in games and talk and speech and putting people down and all that kind of stuff, you know, it just becomes the same. You become numb to it, and the world is becoming numb to that. And what we need to do is become sensitive to hurting and become so clung to, or what would the word be, so attracted to feeling that love. When you feel this feeling of love in your heart, you can feel your heart energy expand. You can feel yourself attached to something more than yourself. And when you feel it, you won't want to hurt anybody. I mean, if you see something about it and you watch a movie about it, there will be times when I'm okay with it, but the most times I'm not in the mood to watch anything that's vulgar and violent. Not because I, you know, think anything bad of anyone who would, or that I never would again, but I have to be in the mood for it. Like, I want to see the next part of it, but until then, I can't think of another vulgar, violent movie that I want to see. Maybe the Marvel trilogies to finish off the thing, because I like the comedy and the characters, so I don't really highlight the violence. I like the idea of the heroicness, you know? But anyway, all I want to say is, we can easily do this if we just start with little steps. And I love the world. I love everything in it. Talk to you later. Have a peaceful day, peaceful life. Love you all. Yeah.